It's live. Okay. Let's just get settled in. I think people are moving outside, so there's a bit of noise. Sometimes a commotion, but mainly just noise. I think the light's okay. I mean, it's very side heavy, but I hate the big light. The big light is just, I don't know which is better. Not nice. I've never done this before. I've gone live before for performance, but yeah, we're here. Let me tell people that I'm live, and then I'll show you what I'm working on. Let's see. Good enough, maybe? Okay. I'm just trying to do what I'm trying to do. Okay. We're live now. Is that how you do it? Sometimes I feel so. That's a whole other discussion. Um, what's the time? 21:06 KST. Maybe by the time I post it, it'll be 07. I said I would show you a bit into my process. Um, it's okay. I've had there's been a I guess you could say a need for acclimation or getting used to using social media, and not strictly from a, oh, I don't know how. No, it's been like an adverse response of like arresting my heart of, oh God, can I do this? And which comes from the disempowerment that is part of this discussion. If I even get there, if anyone shows up, if I feel like talking about it. But it's just funny how that, like, I can still feel the residual effects in my body, and that can sometimes come out with taking a little long to edit a story on social media. I'll show you what I did. It's nothing, but I just kind of, there are some residual, like, can I do this? When I do that, it's a, I guess, constant practice of bravery to do it despite that fear, and to show myself that it is safe to post online and to be me. I'll show you what I did. See if you can. I mean, it's nothing. It's nothing. We're posting it. Voila. There we are. Okay. Cool. Here we are. That I feel like I need to keep exhaling. Just a constant, like, part of that exhale has been making things, despite everything that's been happening the past few days, the commotion outside. Despite everything that's been happening the past few days, I've known, in order to regulate any feelings or to ground myself and show me that, like, it's okay, I'll be okay, I'm safe, and actually pretty badass for leaving, given the circumstances, I've been making. So, well, so I've been making, and it's a knitting project. I'm not very happy with it right now. I like the direction it's going. But as I was making, when I make, I do a lot of math, engineering to, like, and lots of, like, tick marks to plan, like, wee drawings and, like, plans to be, so that I kind of have an idea of, yeah, like where it's going, so that I know it'll fit me and it'll, if I'm designing a piece like with this one for a knitting pattern, so that I at least have an easier time deciphering my notes, especially on large projects like this that took me 3 months. I mean, it was off and on, but like 3 months of my life. Very proud of it, but here we are. So this piece is like a manifestation of the harm that I was brave enough to leave. And it's a working title. It's called like Warring Lust Bites, of reclaiming like damaged, but damaged is crossed out skin. Discussions of what is called damaged skin is actually just someone who's survived harm. Anyway, there's a lot to unpack with it, and that within itself, like as artist, right? Like it's a mix of following where that inspiration, or that it's more like a knowing. I don't always know how to explain it. It's like a knowing of creation that I then give into and do my best to have it go from this ethereal thing that I then can bring into a 3D fruition, which in and of itself is a transmutation, is a process and a molding of like going from formless to three-dimensional or whatever kind of form, but it's in a 3D plane. And so sometimes that comes with I don't know if you can hear, maybe only I can. I don't know how good of a microphone my computer has. There's quite a bit of honking and shuffling outside, let's say. But with that, like this knitting's an interesting medium because there is a lot of like starting, stopping, frogging, which is the term for taking it out, like unraveling it. And I've done that already a bit, like when I did this bit. It's opposite. Okay, I'm using my my computer camera. Like I said, first time doing this, getting used to the opposite, the mirror or the reflection not being a mirror, it being flipped rather. So I did it with this one where I like this little thing better than, see, can I bring it closer? So I like this better than when I started with it. It was just like too big, and I didn't like how I used the colors and how I did the color work. Because I am using, it's more of an organic shape than a structured pattern. And I mean, I'm at a point where I will be frogging like this bit and different, because I'm using different yarn and with a realization I had yesterday, which is part of the beauty of the, I guess, being an artist for me, at least, like allowing myself this inherent part of me, is as I was knitting, I, even though I'm so structured and with it and do a lot of math, when it comes to something like these little patterns, which, yes, they are ultimately symbolizing bites and hickeys and harm in that way, bruises. And also I did play with like a little bit of brown too, because I emulate, before I go to that thought, to emulate the nipple, because free the nipple always. I'm trying to use up the yarn I have, and I have like 2 or 3 projects that I want to finish, including this one, before I then do like a scrap yarn thing, because I'm going through a major shedding, which is a major phoenix moment after going through what I went through and having the bravery of empowering myself to get out of said circumstances. Um, I Yeah, it's a whittling down to a core, and part of that means creating pieces that either I've been meaning to create or like this one have arisen from whatever I've been going through. So, but all that's to say, as I was knitting it, I just felt like I was painting with the yarn, which was like such a beautiful creative feeling because sometimes like when I'm knitting this, it is creative in the planning and then the execution of it, and but it is very methodical, especially when it's something that I do want to share and um, give to people for them to create themselves and to have shared discussion around the piece and what it represents and but and amidst that I still will have like I can do all the planning, but then as you continue maybe there's moments where you have to adjust. But with something like this, I just kind of go and I figure it out. And when I'm not happy with it, like I am now, um, I am gonna frog it and and see how I can do. Because I also have to, given where they're supposed to sit along the breast area, I need to be mindful of how it fits me. And so taking a break from this and continuing on to the back so I know how it'll sit is probably part of it too. So yeah, pausing to say hello to whoever's watching. Um, just been rambling to myself in the meantime. But I'm, yeah, making and knitting as we speak. Um, oh, thank you. Hello, it's you. Hi. I'm um I'm knitting a new piece, right? And it's so funny when you like because I have to keep doing this, and I feel like that looks we're doing our best to make it work. Hi, good to see you. Thank you. I'm so new to this because like now you have like a little crown and a number one. Great. It's this mix of feeling both like uninformed, not old, but like how one would think old people feel about new media. Um, Here we are. Thanks. Good to see you. I'm gonna just knit and like I'm getting chilly. Uh, so yeah, we're just gonna be here for a little bit and knit and if you have questions, I'm happy to talk about things. Um, yeah, I I'd been knitting all day today, and so oh, I'm glad to hear. Uh, I it's funny you say that about my my voice. I've heard that often. So cheers, thank you. Uh, I also I think a funny thing about voice, right? Like I have acknowledged that there is like a depth to the way I speak, and I'm really glad my voice has gotten to this point. But if you look back, I think it's on my website. I have old videos of me talking about after a performance, and my voice is so high, and you can just tell there's like a dysregulated resonance to how I speak. So it's actually it's a major compliment that you say that because it shows to me how how far I've come to actually sit in this voice. Um, yeah, so I'm glad it's relaxing. That's hopefully the goal, alongside knitting. But I'm so I'm kind of like kicking myself because I've been knitting all day today. And I got quite far, and within my measurements and my maths, I'm at a point where I've done the neckline, like the front neckline, because it'll just be like it'll be a wee tank top, which I think should fit me. I'm trying to like see this in the mirror. I think that covers everything, and it'll have like some border as well. And I've done to the point where I've also, I don't know if you can see, that accommodates for the armholes, which in total, because I count like a maniac, is 100 stitches. It's 100 stitches from here to here. But I'm feeling that like this might be too narrow. I mean, it covers what it's supposed to cover, but not fully over here. Granted, I'll get some more on this side, on each side of it. I'm like, is that still not enough? Or do we just applaud and lean into the side boob? That could be that could be the vibe. Just lean into the side boob. But granted, I also will have ribbing, but not a crazy amount. Regardless, I'm kicking myself because like I made some, like, yes, as I said, bruise like hickey things, which I'm not fully happy with how they turned out and where they're sitting. So I think what I'm gonna do right now is go here. So I go to the back and see how that fares, but just slowly knit and become acclimated to being live, because that's new and it's fun for now. As of now, maybe not for now, as of now. But what am I looking for? My what is it? I need tools. I do need tools, yeah. Oh, I forgot I had some coffee. Oh my god, not for now, but for morning, Megan. Oh, where is it? I have to, I need to, I get to, I want to start on the new one. Oh, Jesus. I can't tell if I'm like shaking a little from being live. You know, when I was thinking of titling this, I was like, okay, I I know some people who are interested in seeing this were curious about my current circumstances and why I had to move. And I've had like various discussions about it already, and I don't want to give more time to like, let's sit in the drama of it, because that's also for me in my personal discussions with my personal friends, which you know. Uh, but there also is like this aspect of not wanting to give someone like, well, let's be so for real, a perpetrator, a a predator, more airtime than they need, because that's not what this is about. It's about the bravery of leaving circumstances, and in this case, sexual violence and harm, but also just like harm in general, and the courage and bravery that takes, and doing what you can despite that, which is why I'm making this piece, because kind of the epitome of my artist practice, which is turning the ugly into something beautiful, which is so funny that most often as with this sweater and with I have a dress I made for a performance called, well, aptly named the rape dress, which is a case made of, it's a dress made of my failed rape case, and so it's just so funny that like these really gorgeous, they're garments, it's fashion, tend to be some like that, and like a song I've made, I feel like are the epitome of my thesis as an artist, turning the ugly into something beautiful. But also something that I've noticed is like even just sitting here right now, which to address the shaking that I mentioned earlier. Oh, this is the one I want. The just being here, sitting here right now, is kind of it's a version of me turning the ugly, quote unquote ugly, into something beautiful. Because, yes, while this is addressing sexual violence, it's also like other harm. And, you use all the big words like T for trauma, harm, violence, blah, 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 all that. And by showing up and continuing to show up and being me and having that bravery, even though I'm shaking a little bit of like, okay, here I am for uh, the internet and for friends and for living. And like a big one is my website, that I literally have a website with the art that began me on this journey over a decade ago, that I'm doing it despite all that. That's also a version of turning the ugly into something beautiful. And these like little steps along the way that don't feel like bravery because you've done them and it feels like, okay, well, I'm doing it. But it is bravery, and it is a desire to change circumstances. And as I often say, creativity is the cure, at least in my case. But I think in most cases, because creativity comes in all shapes and forms. Yeah. Right now I'm switching to a different cable. So did I even get it? Oh goodness, all that to say, I was looking for one of these stoppers, and I need two. Let's see if I can find them. That's what I get for I'm going around with very few things, and so I'm doing my best to make do with what I have with me. Yeah. Okay. I also think, let's see, can I do this? I think how it sits is quite good. But what I'm worried about is that it won't be, the neckline isn't large enough, since there will be some border. And so I may, because I kind of like how this is, so I might need to add a few more in there, cast on a few more anyway, which means frogging regardless. Okay, now to see, what time is it? Okay, it's been about 30 minutes. Maybe I'll stay for a bit longer, or if anyone wants me to talk about anything, I can do that. I got a text earlier, and I don't really want to discuss who it was from, but they acknowledged the that I had to move because of harassment. And I thought that was so interesting because I was like, yes, one could say they, even though I deliberately said it was sexual harassment, um, I and they could have just said it to not do it, and one could always look at that and say, and give the person the benefit of the doubt. However, I know the person, and I also know the, at least how I've known them, often perhaps lack of acknowledgement of these things in the world, or at least how by not saying it ultimately perpetuates it. And like I said, it could be something so minor, but I think it's at least to some extent important to acknowledge the type of harassment, especially if someone, or the type of violence, if someone is saying the type of violence, because um, harassment in the general sense is very different from sexual harassment. There's a different kind of disempowerment that happens. And to erase that part of, especially a woman's story, when she's brave enough to talk about it and say it, um, I don't agree. I don't agree with that at all. I think that's silly. Don't do it. Uh, just don't, please. Oh shit. Okay, so this is my least favorite part of. I have a few least favorite parts of knitting. What are my least favorite parts? One is when you add on for like a sleeve or the ribbing bit. There's the initial like um, picking. It's pick up and knit. I think is like the technical term for it. Pick up and knit stitches, which is like putting it through here. I don't know if you can. I don't have a great camera right now. One day, you put it here, put on some yarn, and then like bring it up. It's just one of my least favorite things. It just kind of takes a while. Not a fan. I also don't like weaving in the ends, which on a piece like this, which my first ever piece that I knit, really ultimately knit and design, besides like hats. Like I've only done a few pieces in total, but like my first ever like actual piece that I designed and now wear often, but not now because it's wool and it'll be summer soon. Has a lot of color work, which means a lot of, as you can see here, a lot of we stitches. And then the weaving in the ends bit is like, okay, let's make sure it looks good, and which is why I'm also frogging this because it does not look good. But also secure it, like secure it as a thing. But then there's this, which is in order to have like a seamless, I could have done it again where there was a seam and it'd be fine, but no, I go the extra mile and I um that feels healing, or how knitting makes you feel like it's helping. You're so sweet. Oh, thank you for that question. Um, that's a great question. Thank you so much. Because you're really hitting on really what this sweater is about in general, which is literally called like healing a deficit of love, which your question is exactly what I was inquiring when I made this piece. Because as I said, I think creativity is the cure for anything, whether it's coming back to yourself and empowering yourself, despite any, like, we're not talking about any harm, pain, trauma, whatever. Um, or it can be like to empower yourself and in the way of like, I am more me. And that could be cooking yourself meals, that could be being purposeful and intentional with in knitting, like just creating a thing. Like I now trust myself more because I made a thing with my own two hands. And in my case, because I just have had to admit, inevitably I am a designer. Yes, I the act of knitting, I literally, when I was thinking about like all the symbols behind this sweater. One of them, as you mentioned, is like knitting yourself back together, right? These things that feel like we these things that like feel of have unraveled us, and we feel disempowered. We feel like it's gone away, gone astray, and then we don't feel like ourselves. Um, Literally knitting ourselves together, and again that trust of self to say like, in my case, designing and then bringing a piece into fruition that I'm literally like sitting here now wearing. But for someone who would maybe use this pattern to, they completed a piece, and that's with anything, any, in this case, as you're mentioning, knitting project. Because it can be like a meditation, right? Like that's why I used for this for as a medium in particular, I use it as a purposeful meditation, where you can like imbue intention and thought, and it can be just the act of like like repetition, this repetitive meditation, and like act of being with yourself. Whether that you're doing it in silence, listening to music, something else, like whatever you are doing, or talking with people, because you can also do it in community. And I think that's also really important, because historically, knitting has been a put to the wayside as like a woman's craft and seen as less than. And I say that's bullshit. It can be and is fine art, which is when I'm making like a new piece like this, I see it as fine art. As I said, I've been literally painting with a piece, and then I get to wear it. And so when I also think of the healing bit too, like this is literally called healing a deficit of love. And now I'm wearing the garment that gets to, and how it's designed is, let's see if I can prop up for you a bit. Like it is cropped, but it's like, it's big and it's oversized. Um, and it's cozy. And I'm literally just sitting here all cozy in my thing. But then the symbol bit, because this is where I come in with my fine art background. It's the whole back is open, which is exciting, because that's, very maybe trite saying, oh yeah, the pains that we have and the holes in our heart, because my mind kind of sits here. And it's very, I have a little drawing of it when I was making it. Well, there's like one little one, I call it the wound. The wound. There, my Minnesotan accent came out. Good God. Here it is more like deliberately, like, like violent and vile. So it's a to give brief bullet points of what makes knitting feel healing to me. One, it's just creation. It's creation, and I am creating something in the way that like it ticks a lot of boxes for me. You see progress, kind of like mowing the lawn, right? Maybe that's too American of me. Mowing, like literally just that type of progress, or weeding a garden, right? You can see your progress. But in this case, it's literally a garment that I get to create and ultimately wear, and then in this case, share with others that who will also hopefully make it. It's also healing. Maybe it'll be less so this feeling, but one of my first ever loves that I was discouraged from doing as a kid was designing clothes. My first loves were like singing, dancing, acting, making music, so like film, directing, all that, and making clothes. But like those were all discouraged, and so I just never thought I could do those things. And now, at my ripe age, I've acknowledged those parts of me, and I'm finally doing it. And people seem to resonate with the knitting, at least at this point in my career. And so shifting to doing that by having those discussions and providing people with topics of art in the gallery versus which I've pursued for a decade versus bringing it to your home, to your daily life, to your body. I've lived out of a suitcase for so long, and so like creating artwork that not only I get to carry with me more easily, but I get to wear. How exciting is that? And that's so healing in and of itself. Uh, Pain wise, I think I'm a sensitive lady, and so inevitably, which is great. As artist, I should be it's at least beneficial that I am sensitive. So, I just feel deeply, and so sometimes with knitting, it's so funny because for all those things I mentioned, yes, that, like, heals those wounds, um, and brings there's that depth of pain, but then also beauty of joy that's also there because I'm fulfilling a part of me that I neglected and was scared to be because that part was punished for so long. And I think whenever we like confront and are brave enough to confront those parts of ourselves, that inevitably is healing. But also, just like it's very silly, but like pain wise, like I said, this took me 3 months of my life. Granted, I was designing it along the way, and I would get like this far and have to like frog it because like, oh, I did the math wrong, or I did the seam wrong in the way that I wanted it to look, and because I'm designing it, I need to make sure I'm doing this properly so people can follow my instructions. I'm also a left-handed knitter, which is not as common for knitters, and so I have to be conscious of that. So it's a whole thing. But the like just um, I don't know. It's painful in the way of like this takes forever. Um, it, there's that like perseverance then. Like it's a act of patience and patience with myself to have a goal and a thing that I have known I've needed to create since November 2024. And I kind of kept putting it off. I made a I made a sweater vest that was like the precursor to this, just because I'd never made a garment before besides starting a scarf that is a work in progress that'll probably end up being like 10 meters long, and then a some hats that I made as gifts. But other than that, like I'd never made a wearable garment, and so uh, I don't know. I think I unlocked a talent of knitting, which is part of that healing bit too. Of I think when you've been bombarded with various pain and harm and it sits in your body, acknowledging your talents or these innate parts of you, I think are inevitably healing, especially when you follow through on them and you um, acknowledge who you are, especially like in this case, a part of me that I hid for so long. Because while I've made garments um, for performances I've done, like I've literally made dresses, I've made trousers and whole sets. Like I've never made something that I felt I I could give to the masses. Um, and it's just funny that I picked the most tedious art form because it takes forever. And there's a lot of patience. And I'm constantly reminded of being told that patience is a virtue, which, fuck Catholicism. But I had someone call me patient, and I was like, no, how dare? But yeah, there is a patience of um, with myself and with this desire to create a piece of art that you can live in. I've been playing a lot with fashion as as a form of like wearable artwork and taking art out of the gallery, because I think we're at a point, or at least I am in my career, but also I think we inevitably need to talk about like the art world and how there's gatekeeping in many art forms, and how a lot of people get into a white cube and just freeze and like, I don't know how to talk about this, but we wear things, and acknowledging all the women and people who were pushed to craft, and calling this craft instead of saying, like, yes, it is craft, but you can also, it is art and it can be fine art. And it is. And so I think a major healing bit is fully embracing these very deep rooted themes and discussions that I've been so keen and to explore and have conversations about, and have been doing within my artwork for a decade. But it feels like knitting in particular and other art forms I'm currently pursuing just feel more embodied, at least right now. And that kind of remedies any pain, um, especially with the like knitting yourself together. But it's not only about pain, right? Like within this whole discussion, like it's not just pain. I do feel deeply, and sometimes I think I tap into a universal pain that isn't mine, and taking on the transmutation amidst creation, which is part of my job as artist. But yeah, the next brave thing that I know I need to do is finish the knitting pattern and give it to the world, because that's a whole other animal to tackle. God damn it. It's a lot, but we're getting there, and ultimately making, as well as like the admin, because I am an artist, I should probably make. That would be good. Hence this new piece. But it's so funny because like I do get so, like, I hop so frequently. Like there's this piece I know I need to do. There's one that I know I need to make about my favorite vibrator. There's another one. Is there another one besides that? Wait, that's one, two. And then there is one that I probably just, two that would be good to make, just to kind of use up the yarn. But I really, like, I have this yarn, and I have it in, it's the type of yarn specifically. I have lots of different colors, and that's the one that I'm currently working with for this piece. It's 100% cotton. I'm very into, like, this is cotton and silk. Love a natural fiber. This one moves so nicely, like when I wear it, it's a very nice one. This one's it's very nice. I've made a piece of it already. It's in the closet. I'm not gonna go get it, but it is lovely and also has a back hole, as this one will too. Do we sense a theme, trend? But this one is not fun to weave in the ends. Like here, you can't really tell. Let's see if I can find one here. Like you can't fully, you can tell maybe there's like a little bump, but like with this and with the wool I've used, it's more, it's not as noticeable. With this, like all these are going to be kind of visible, which is why I'm probably going to treat a lot of it like embroidery, so that it's a visible, it's a purposeful part of the piece, especially because this is supposed to be like skin. I want you to say, wow, it's beautiful, and I want you to feel so uncomfortable, especially when I wear it. That's healing in and of itself, making people confront discomfort. but I have so much of it, and they're like, "Oh, there is, like, this dress I would like to make," but then I just, like, wanna make things to wear, and that's also and then share that, because I'm gonna have all this extra yarn, and so, like, making a, which is so part of my practice, which is, like, using the extra bits and making something out of it. So I just keep like, "Oh, I need to make all these things," but again, I chose a medium that just can take a while. Granted, they won't be this big, and I'm not a huge person, so that can, like, I unless I wanted to make a very oversized piece, this is oversized and took me 3 months. So I think I need to stick with, like, smaller pieces for a little bit if I wanna knock them out, but, also, I'm meticulous. So who knows? It still could take ages, just ages. But I'm optimistic, maybe, delusionally so, but we will do. We will make do. Anything else? Because it's almost, maybe I'll stay for the full hour and then, because my host, I'm graciously being hosted by a new friend. The slow, well, thank you for calling me out right there. The slow of knitting. Yep. Yep. God damn it. You very much called me out right there in the best way. Thank you. But okay, slow down, lady. Yes. Okay. Okay, I will. And I do. Um, but yeah, Friday night. A Friday night stream. I will make this a thing, I think, at least for a while. Still want to figure out like which night of the week would be good. Um, Friday nights. It's my kind of Friday night. Sit and chat and make things. But if there's another day, like even just a Wednesday, a random Wednesday or Tuesday. I was born on a Tuesday. Could always just do a Tuesday. Yeah, I'll have to think about it. See what people think. But this will be up, I think, after. That's how YouTube works, right? Still getting used to it. A new medium. Social media. Look at that. Okay. Any other question, or should I just head out, leave it at that? Which I could do. I also haven't had dinner. Maybe I should eat dinner. But you like Friday too. I kind of think it's cute because, like, promotes a lovely little vibe on a beautiful night. Less and less am I going out. At least it's a season in my life of not going out much. No judgment on there. That's just my season currently. And so to provide an option maybe is on theme. A Friday night theme of let's spend it in if you would like. Friday nights with me. That could be nice. Oh, sorry, I had to crack my neck. Oof. Oof, oof, oof. Okay. Then maybe we'll leave it at that. You see, briefly, like, look how cute all these are. I have so many of them, all in this, like, same type of 100% cotton that's, like, not always the vibe of a yarn, but, they're so cute, and because I'm me and therefore they're all kind of going together, just need to make a thing. Ugh. Okay, for now, Friday night, knitting and chatting with Megan. I'll make it a thing. Okay. I will. Anything else or the red? This one? So I wish it was red. I'm sad that that's how it's coming up because the red is beautiful. It's actually like because it's the lighting, a gorgeous like pink. It's a deep pink. So it's like pink, and this is more of a blush pink. I have this green and then a more like muted green, um, and then this brown camel almost. And then I have black and then a lighter white, which I may incorporate into this as like teeth marks because sometimes we are very literal. Um, yes, I'm glad you like it. I think it's a really beautiful color. I made a sweater vest. I can show another time. A little mini sweater vest. And I normally just wear black, but I just made it, and it's in this color. So it's gorgeous. Um, yeah. Thanks. I'm glad you like it because I like it too. Yeah. Anything else? Otherwise, you're so sweet. Yeah, like I said, it's when I before I was coming on, I was like confronting they're very old, but you know, sometimes they live in our bodies still, old fears of like being seen or one major thing that like kind of I was talking about it in this way. I felt I had to be in the shadows in a lot of ways for just my own personal evolution and confrontation, and part of that meant an aversion to something like this. Um, but as things go, and I am one who is open to said evolution, and I will challenge myself. Uh, this just felt like a natural part of it, and I thanks for asking. I do feel better. Um, Still, will get used to the rhythm of it because, like, it is a very me talking heavy. Um, love like luckily in a lovely way there is I get to communicate with a chat. Um, but it's yeah, that rhythm of like, I do like waiting for discussion or people who come or go or yeah, I feel better. And it's actually exciting because why not? Let's have this season of lives. Um, yeah. You've been cooking dinner. Amazing. So you've been creative too. Oh, amazing. So I love I love that it's the time it is for you and you are cooking. That makes total sense. I'm really glad it's cooking dinner. Creativity, as I said, be creative and let's um, do things. I'm really glad. I hope it's inspiring. I think that's I was talking to someone last night about it with this idea of like inspiring or like icon or what that means. And like as artist and like with even with the idea of like influencer, right? Like it's become this very trite title, and it's become this very like almost like looked down upon, or like very I guess you could say like it feels very it's just, what even is this thing, and how is it being used? But as artists, for generations, for centuries, artist has inspired, and these things, like aspects of creation, have inspired, and it's looked different throughout generations. Like we have influencer, we have all these things, um, and so I stayed away from social media from that aspect. But I think acknowledging that art creation innately inspires. I mean, hello, I'm innately inspired by creation in general. Like it's literally part of what I consume, but then part of being what I am and doing what I do transmutes that and gives it back, whether I acknowledge that or not. So I'm glad you say that. But yeah, I literally was talking about that last night, about like no matter what I do, like it's going to inspire someone, because I'm inspired in daily life by so many different things and people. So you can't run away from inspiration, or being or inspiring. Let's funnel it and use it more purposely, I guess. Because what else am I doing on a Friday night? Hanging out with myself, sure, but let's share that. I'm glad you cooked your dinner. Always encourage eating. Please eat, y'all. Please actually eat and fuel yourself. Which, I mean, I say that now as a hypocrite. I should probably eat a really late dinner, or at least a snack, because I had a late lunch. See, time. Okay. I might head out, because as I said, my the person who's graciously hosting me they come back a little after 10, and for their privacy, I'll go. But anything else before I go? Anything? Like how I said I would knit. I just talked about knitting and I didn't do a goddamn thing. I will get to it and show the progress next time. Anything? Don't want to quit prematurely. Thank you. And thanks for participating in the chat. Thanks. Okay. Then I'll make it a thing, and I will see you next week. So let me figure out how to do this, but okay. Have a good night, and I'll see you next time.